Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It's time to have a look at two very different types of visitors that sometimes seems a bit like they're miles apart, and yet there are a lot of things that overlap here. On the one side you have tourists, mainly first-time visitors, and often people with very limited time to come and visit a place. And on the other side you have your regular visitors, usually visitors who live close by. They know the place very well, they come very often. They can also often be involved perhaps in some very specific detail of the work that you do, for example via volunteer programs or things like that. So let's have a look at who these two types of visitors are and what it is they really expect, because sometimes they come to a place with some very different but very specific expectations. First of all, you have tourists. These are people often first-time visitors, as I said, and people with limited time to visit a place. So usually they want to see the highlights either of your museum exhibition or your heritage sites. They expect everything to work professionally though. They expect everything from the exhibition spaces to the cafe, the toilets to be clean and all that kind of thing to operate at a very high standard. But they also expect to be informed and entertained. They want to gain specific knowledge, but they also want to have a really good time. When you look at regulars, people who come regularly and who might know the place very well, they want the specifics, sometimes within the stories of the highlight, but they often want to see something very specific, and often they can engage in special exhibitions in detail that tourists might not be able to take in. They're also often willing to accept that improvements take place along the way. So when you are restoring something or rebuilding a section or installing an exhibition space or something, they know that things take time, and sometimes they might even be part of these improvements and of the work and of the details in the work. They also want to feel they are included and they want to feel they can contribute. Very often regulars, and especially if they are involved in some sort of volunteer program, they also feel a little sense of ownership over a place, because we live here and I've lived in this neighborhood for a long time, so I know this place very well indeed, and there is a little feeling of ownership as well coming in here. So giving them a feeling of being included and being involved can really work wonders here. If we have a look at some of the experiences that actually work for both first-time visitors and also for your regular visitors, it can be things like having and creating core stories, but with many layers. So when you have your maybe 1 to 5 central stories, either with objects or venues or with experiences, with your storytelling, it can be everything from tours, activities, interactivities, but also maybe highlights in an exhibition, so objects. Make sure that you have many layers to them, so you can explore these either at a kind of almost like a shallow level or a top highlight level, an overall level, but also in further detail along the way, so that you have something for both the first-time visitor but also visitors who already are familiar with many of these activities and highlights and tours already. Now, highlight tours or highlight route with your top 5, 10, 20 highlights can be really effective as well, because it gives tourists or first-time visitors an idea about what it is they have to go and see. Sometimes it can be very tricky to get an idea about the overall feel for a place. What am I meant to see here? What do you actually have to offer in terms of activities or highlights? So this having some sort of maybe a map, even a route or a highlight of what is it I can see here and what do you have to offer. Also providing information about where can I explore more. It can be the website or in a store, in a shop, but also what do you have of offers like lectures, webinars, tours, volunteer programs. Maybe there are different kind of support groups for your place, for your venue, for your museum and heritage site. Where can I get to explore this more? How can I engage? And obviously this is both for people who live physically close by, but also for people who might visit you frequently online. There are still things you can ask people to contribute with, and where you can ask for visitors' engagement, even though they might not be locals. Also, finally, make room for developments and contributions within each experience. So when you have your core stories with many layers, how can you engage with visitors? Where are the bits where visitors can get a feeling of contributing and engaging and being involved as well in this? This can really go a long way when you're trying to create that connection with visitors, either for the first time or for the 5th or 16th or 100th times. Now, dealing with these two specific types of visitors can sometimes be tricky, because you really want to offer something for both groups, and it can be difficult to, on the one hand, offer something for first-time visitors that might not know the place very well, but also at the same time have something to offer visitors who know both you and the place and the work procedures around the place very well indeed. How do you go about these two different types of visitors? It would be really lovely to hear about your experiences here. And also, as always, if you like the content of these videos, please like them, subscribe to the channel, and add your comments. It's always great to hear from you.